And so now we will move into the future. Hello, YouTube. Good afternoon, good evening, good day. How are you? I am so excited. What is up with the people? Team DLZ is in the chat in a big way. What's up, TCBC? What's going on, my friend? Checked up, made sure it was me on Paul Unslaved chat. He has a new channel, by the way. Let me give everybody Paul Unslaved's new channel. He texted it to me, and I just went and participated on his live. It's Proper Instruction Motivates People. So make sure you guys subscribe to Paul Unslaved's new channel. I don't know if YouTube follows you around with the blackout to try to make sure that you can't make a living and cut you out of economic prosperity and shadow ban you and be the censors that they are. I don't know what they're doing. I know what they're doing to us. About 3 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, they just turned the spout off. We were growing like 20,000 subs a month, and then the spout just turned off. And now I think we're at 12,000 new subs a month, 12,000 something as of today. But, you know, we are in the fight of our lives. Mr. Waldo Baldo, Mikey B, what's going on? What is going on? So listen, this is a participation show. Everybody, do me a favor. If you are down for constitutional travel, and, you know, I'm out of my element here. That's why I'm bringing on Paul Unslaved. And there is a gentleman named Ego Checker. His channel is called Ego Checker. DLZ Clips, if you will put Ego Checker's channel in the chat. This man is being persecuted and prosecuted simply for traveling in the United States of America. We are seeing an absolute, we're living in a state of despotism when the people who swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, when they are educated that they are violating the Constitution, and yet they still do it. So I'm collecting names of people who want to constitutionally travel in our country. So hit up my website, delete laws, go to the inquiry and put constitutional travel on the subject line. I want to know how many people are really interested in this. How many people really don't want to have to get a driver's license anymore? I just want to know. I just want to know. So send me an email, deletelaws@gmail.com or constitutional travel. I would rather you went through my website. It's the easiest way. Constitutional travel, because a lot of emails that come into delete laws, my cousin will just delete them because I get so many hundreds of emails. So go through the website and put constitutional travel on the subject line, And I'm going to bring on Paul. But before I bring on Paul, I'm going to bring on Ego Checker, because I want Ego Checker to kind of tell his story, and we're going to watch a little bit of his video. And I want Paul to absorb this a little bit, because if you guys don't know who Paul Unslaved is, he is the grand poobah of understanding government words that have been twisted and turned to be double talk, so that you and I, who are just regular folk, we may not understand the legalese, how they twist the words, the government twists the words so that we are criminals when we're not, or the government will twist the words so that we don't have our rights. And Paul Unslaved is literally one of, if not the top, one of the top guys in this space. So I want to bring him on. Ego Checker, I'm going to bring you on for a couple minutes here. So Ego Checker, tell me what's going on. Hey, buddy, what's your name?
Hey, my name is Danny Clack. I live here in College Station, Texas, Bryan College Station. I've been doing right to travel for, I think my registration went out back in June of last year, and I've done some research, and I actually was in touch with Paul and talked to Paul a few times. Really? And I've decided to stand up for my rights and my freedoms. And I've been pulled over twice. Back in September of last year, a DPS officer pulled me over because I didn't have a license plate on my truck. I refused to give him any information because once you waive any of your rights, you don't ever get them back. So you have to stand on your grounds. That means not giving no driver's license. Don't give them proof of insurance. Anything they ask, you don't have to give them. And I refused to do that. He didn't have a body cam, so I asked a supervisor to come on scene so somebody would have a body cam. When a College Station police officer got there, they decided to unlock my truck and snatch me up out of the truck, which is a Fourth Amendment violation. They can't. Supreme Court's ruled that once they stick their hand inside of your vehicle and unlock it, it's a Fourth Amendment violation. I went ahead and since he snatched me out of the truck and threatened to arrest me, I did go ahead and give him my driver's license information, but I refused to give him any insurance. So he wrote me a ticket for no insurance, and no registration, no proof of insurance, and no registration. They set up a court date. I went to court. The DA decided not to show up that day. They said, yeah, imagine that, right? So the case should have been dismissed right there. I was like, the case should be dismissed right now on its face. They're like, well, we tried to call you. You didn't answer your phone. How am I supposed to prove that he didn't or didn't? But if I don't show up to court, I get arrested.
Okay.
So
and then after that, there's another pullover, and they're gonna arrest you. And we're gonna show a little bit of that video. But first, real quick, Danny, let me bring on Paul Unslaved and introduce him to the audience. Paul, hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Castro?
How you doing, buddy?
So I'm doing well, man. Just to comment on what he's saying, I just see this all as, I like to boil it down and I give it a little bit of a rough edge sometimes, street terminology. This is basic psychology, pimping and hoeing. They told you show up at a certain date and they knew they didn't have the goods, so they're going to play this game of, well, we called you. Nah, it doesn't work that way. There's nothing to talk about. If there is something to talk about, it's because you know you ain't got the goods. So you want to like deal behind the scenes. We don't deal with terrorists. Terrorist is defined by the FBI as 2 or more people using a political idea forced upon the individual. These folks are forcing us to be part of a political and corporate structure. That's under U.S. Code, Title 53 and the rest of it. All of these interactions are commercial, and it's a unification of government and corporations, which is the definition of fascism. Okay, so, you know, we have DeCastro here, and then we got like another kind of Castro kind of system, right? So, you know, unification.
There's the me that's me, and then there's the entity that the government has created. Is that right?
Right. And this is where, if you go back to my original video, that if you know me at all, you're going to know me from there, the masses, so to speak. And then I have a secondary community. But you'll listen to the officer say, well, what about the name that isn't your name, that looks like your name, that the government gave you, that isn't your name? He literally says something like that. So that was the outing point right there. If you go back and watch that, don't tell me this ain't about surety, and don't tell me this ain't about a legal entity when it's all U.S. code, and he said it on the side of the road.
So everybody, as you can see, we have a guy here who's going to break this down for us. So you heard a little bit of ego checker. Danny, that's the name of his channel. We're going to watch his video. So they arrested him. He gave them paperwork, explained to them, I have a constitutional right to travel. I am not driving. I am not in commerce, what Paul just taught you. And now this next time they pull him over, the cop pulls him over just to arrest him. So let's watch this together, and then we'll come right back and talk to Paul and Danny together.
Guess they haven't. This is what I'm fixing to hand them. Is there an emergency?
No, sir. You're driving a truck that does not have valid license plates on it.
Don't need it.
Okay. Do you have your driver's license proof?
I'm not waiving any of my rights. I want to go ahead and hand you this.
Okay.
So you can.
Just so you know, my name is Officer Lightfoot with the College Station Police Department. Okay. The
Okay.
stop is for the plates.
You might want to call CAPS. Go ahead and hand you that.
What is this, sir?
You can read it. Car, I presume you can read. Is there no emergency?
Oh, you're being stopped for a traffic violation.
Okay, you might want to call your supervisor.
Okay, he's on the way. Can you step out of the truck for me?
What's your probable cause for me stepping out of the truck?
You're under arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
For the traffic violations, because you've been warned about this and cited for it multiple
I
times.
went to court. I went to court on this.
Step out of the truck,
I
please.
would prefer your supervisor. I'd prefer your supervisor get out here.
Can you start this way? He's refusing to get out of the truck. Can you please get out of the truck, sir?
I'll wait for your supervisor.
Please get out of the truck.
I'll wait for your supervisor.
Okay. We can do that. Would you mind just keeping your hands up there? You can record me all you want doing all that stuff. Can you put your hand, the other hand up there for me, sir?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I just want to be able to see your hands. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. I respect you. You've been respectful to me. All right.
So were you waiting on me?
I'm sorry?
I said y'all been waiting on me?
No, I saw you pulling out from
yeah, y'all been waiting on me.
I saw
y'all
you
been
pulling out from
stalking me.
Spring Loop. And
Y'all been stalking me.
I recognize your truck.
How do you recognize my truck?
Because it's got the private tags on it.
Oh, so you're stalking me.
No, I was driving down the road and then I made a U-turn because I saw you turn.
Okay, you don't want to fill this out?
So do you guys get what he was saying right there? What he's saying right there is, you saw me, yet I had broken no laws. I had done nothing wrong. So you started stalking me. And he's saying, no, you didn't have your tags. You didn't contract with us. And so let me bring on the guys here so we can kind of talk about it now. Let's just stop here before they're going to put hands on. So
let me bring this up, Castro. He uses the term traffic, right? And we all just breeze right past that. Go back to what traffic is. It's the same thing as trafficking. Trafficking is the commercial terminology. Drug trafficking, human trafficking. It means bringing people or services or product on the road for profit. That's what traffic is, trafficking, right? So they're using constantly words and terms that denote a commercial jurisdiction, and nobody's getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And Danny, tell me what's going on here with you, as you realize this guy is literally stalking you because you don't want to contract with the state and say that they have governance over you for you to travel freely.
Yeah, that's correct. And you also have to ask, I've never seen this cop before. I've never seen the other cop before. How does he know what I'm driving? How does he know it was me driving if he wasn't stalking me? I hadn't even made it in about a mile into College Station before he pulled me over.
Sir, can I stop you?
Yes,
because
sir.
We're back to words again. Driving is a commercial term.
Yeah, I was
a
traveling.
driver is one employed on the roadway to deliver passengers. They'll say, hey, that guy in your car, that's your passenger. Well, back to their legal book, it says a passenger is someone who paid to be driven.
Yes, that's correct.
What do I call him? It's not my passenger.
I was traveling, and I told the officer I was traveling as well.
Who's riding with me? If you're with me,
I guess it's my next friend, right? I mean, for you to label it, it's my next friend. You know, it's my fellow traveler. I guess there's different ways you could choose. I just don't accept their words and terms, right? You know as well as I do, trafficking is commercial, passengers commercial, drivers commercial. It's all defined legal definitions.
Now let's watch them go hands-on with Danny, and he's broken no law and he's hurt no persons.
No, you can keep that.
No, I want you to fill this out. You have to fill this out by law.
Okay, but just leave it right here for now. Okay.
Okay. Supreme Court has also ruled that I'm going to go ahead and give you this too. Let me show you what I'm giving them.
Okay, I'll take it, but just hang on to it for now. Okay?
Now I want you to read it.
We're waiting for my supervisor, right?
Okay. Yep. You can go ahead and read this too.
Okay, just hang on to it for now, sir. Just hang on to it for now.
You're refusing to take it?
No, I'm not. I said hang on to it for now.
But you can read it, right? You can read it while you're waiting, right?
Sir, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
I'm trying to be respectful and give you my attention.
Oh, I don't need your attention.
Okay. Well, you lawfully stopped.
Lawfully? No. Hey, my stuff's blowing away. Can you grab it?
I'll go get it in a minute.
All right.
So you know what I want to
Is
do,
there a
Danny?
reason why you don't want to just get out of the vehicle?
So Danny, what I want to do right now is I want to show them exactly what you were showing them, because you sent me a copy of the documents, and this is, I want you guys to email me, go to deletelaws.com, go to my inquiry form and put constitutional travel. I want to know how many people are interested in traveling constitutionally. And now I want to show you the forms that Danny was putting out the window for the coppers to, let me see if this is, I'm a little, that's downloads. I'm a little nervous to click on any of these. That's it. Share. Okay, there it is. You guys see that? So these are the questions that Danny was posing that he wanted the coppers to answer. So what is this, Danny? Explain this to me.
Yeah, that's a public servant's questionnaire. You can read up there. I don't remember what actually the code it is. It's a Privacy Act that they actually have to fill that out before a public service agent can ask you any questions.
Okay, let me read this to everybody who's watching right now. It says at the top, public service questionnaire. The questionnaire must be filled out by any public servant before you can ask the citizen any question. Federal law, including the Privacy Act 5, U.S. Code C, 552A 88 Stat 1896, 1974 authorizes public servant's full name. Put it in. He wants him to fill it in. Public servant's residence address. You want the residential address of the copper, name of the copper agency, full legal name of supervisor, and the office address. Will you as a public service uphold the Constitution? Okay, I got it. So now
now let's be clear from my perspective, they'll say he's in his sob sit rap now because this is the catch-all term. But you want to say that they got to know all this and pursuant to federal code. That's all for their system and people within it. When you opt in to be in it, they consider you a co-trustee of that corporate body known as United States, which is a corporation headed in D.C., right? So when you call yourself a citizen, you're saying I owe allegiance to the corporate body headed in D.C., which is technically a foreign corporation on the land we call United States, because there's a differentiation between the land and the men and women who live on the land versus the corporate body, the corporate political body, and the citizens that make up that public sort of entity, right? That political body. So that's why they got you voting for corporate masters, president, vice president, treasurer, right? Those are corporate positions. So they've got us believing that the law society is the legal society. No, they're two different things. There's a legal society and a law society. There's legal and lawful. There's public jurisdiction, corporate, commercial activity, and there's on the land jurisdiction for men and women under God, the people.
Right, but Paul, let me jump in. He's giving a copper a form that's a questionnaire that he wants him to fill out under U.S. Code 5, United States Code 552A or B. I can't remember what it said exactly, but tell me your logic behind this, Danny, and why does that copper have to fill out that form?
Well, if he's asking me for my information, where I live, I don't reside anywhere. I'm non-domicile. I actually unregistered to vote, Paul, because I want to be pulled out of that system. And if they want to do things right, and I have to do things right, if they're, and I get what Paul was saying about me getting in their jurisdiction when I ask them for codes and stuff, but if they have to get information from me, I should be able to get information from them because they don't ever ID.
No, I agree with you. They have to provide pretty much from the few things I saw there, like it says under the code, which is written for them, they got to provide 3 forms of ID. Now they'll say they don't, but they can't ID you unless you're in the commission of a crime where they have reasonable articulable suspicion to believe so. Well, crime is synonymous with loss, injury, and harm.
Yep.
Right. You could say a fraudulent debt situation where you didn't pay.
Here's the other form that he gave him, and I'll zoom in on some of the words here. It says, I invoke and refuse to waive my Fourth Amendment right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. I do not consent to any searches and seizures myself, my home, my vehicle, any property, my possessions. Do not ask me about ownership interest in any property. I do not consent. I invoke and refuse to waive my Fifth Amendment right. I invoke and refuse to waive my Sixth Amendment right to my attorney. I invoke and refuse to waive any privileges, rights pursuant to the Supreme Court of the United States, Miranda versus Arizona. Any statements I make or allegedly consent I give in response to your questions is hereby under protest and under duress. Under U.S. Code 18, conspiracy against my rights, deprivation of my rights, possession of this document means you can no longer claim ignorance of the clearly established. Now, to be honest, guys, we have seen this before. We've seen this document before. And now, you know what? Paul, do you have a document similar to what Danny gave the coppers that you have?
I mean, I have some documentation that I'll travel around with to present. But ultimately, what I found is it's going to take a honorable human being in that uniform on some level to make a connection. If these folks are that corrupt or just have gone so deep into the belief that they have a right to regulate men and women under the guise of public welfare, they're going to do that because they believe that's the law. That's how they're trained. So they're going, what are you, crazy? In order to ensure public welfare, you can't just do whatever you want to do, even if you're not causing loss, injury, and harm. We got to govern you. But that's not the foundation of government. Government is for those who can't govern themselves without causing harm to everyone with repeated malicious intent. Not even an accident falls under that. So you can't say to everyone to keep everyone safe, you're going to force us into contract and give up our God-given rights in order to be kept safe. And that's a common theme that we've been hearing a lot.
And Danny, when you use this form, have you had success with this form before? Have you ever had any success with explain? Now, this is where Paul's famous, because he did a video where he just laid out for the.
Oh yeah, I saw. Oh yeah, I saw.
I mean, we all saw it. So if you haven't seen it, DLZ Clips, grab that video, pretty please, sir, and drop it in the comments. And
but Castro, let's be clear. I have 2 other videos on the channel where they take the car, everything in it. Now here's where it gets good.
Right.
They take the guns and the ammo and the body armor, because I was traveling and moving property, right, from original to the new location, the storage, whatever you want to call it. They took all that. They said, if you don't go to court, you ain't getting none of that back.
Did you ever get it back?
It was all restored back to the trust, because I don't own any of that property. That property's held in trust, right?
All right. Now listen, let's watch them now go hands-on with a man who has done absolutely nothing wrong. He's hurt nobody, and they targeted him specifically to arrest him for traveling.
Talk to me.
Because you got a gun. You're holding your hand on your gun.
Just resting my hand.
Yeah, because no, you already said I'm under arrest, and you're asking me questions. So I'll go ahead and plead my Fifth Amendment.
Are you resisting arrest?
No, I'm not resisting arrest. Okay. I want to know why I'm under arrest. Why am I under arrest?
For the traffic violations,
that's an arrestable offense.
You have been cited.
Yeah, in the court.
For those, which means that the citations are not working. It is
no. Have I been to court?
I'm sorry?
Have I been to court?
I don't know what you're referring to, sir.
Oh, you don't know what I'm referring to? Okay.
I don't know the point of your question.
Okay. The court decides that, right?
No. So whenever somebody is stopped for a traffic stop, citations are issued in lieu of arrest.
Hey, Connor, can you call Billy and tell him to come and get Stormy? I'm getting arrested again.
God.
And your name again?
My name is John Lightfoot. I work with College Station Police Department. Badge is 1143.
1143 Lightfoot.
Yes, sir. John Lightfoot.
All right, John Lightfoot. I'm turning my car off. Don't shoot me.
That's fine. Hey, like I said, you've been nothing but cool with me, man.
But you.
It's not about being cool, bro. It's about you respecting your oath.
Yeah, but I'm doing a constitutionally protected activity. Constitutionally protected activity.
What are you talking about? Driving?
No, I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
Okay, I got you.
You got me? So you want to read this?
Like I said, once I'm able to do that and I'm able to do that safely, I will do that.
Okay. I'm in Home Depot and the Home Depot and University and Highway 6. They were waiting on me, stalking me again.
You saw me driving down the road and I recognize your truck. I recognize your truck because you do it. You drive around and you've been told multiple times it's not legal.
So not legal. It is legal, 100%. No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, if you read this, you would understand, maybe. Once again, I'm going to try to hand it to him.
Go ahead and put that back in the car. I've already told you.
I'm at Home Depot on University, Connor. University and yes, he's not a supervisor, is he? You might want to call Caps.
Also coming.
You might want okay.
Yeah, he's coming. He's that's what the offensive season warned about multiple times and he didn't get out. So.
Oh, Couch. I'm having a meeting with Couch. You might want to call Couch.
He's just refusing everything.
So they're talking back and forth about how to hurt somebody, how to take someone to a dungeon who has no victim.
And we already know this.
He said he's already knows this one, so they've been stalking me and harassing me.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, it is what you said.
Not what I said.
I mean, he doesn't look like a creeper, does he?
What's going on, Mr. Clark?
Oh, you know me.
My
Well,
name's Officer Rainey with the College Station Police Department. My badge number is 1455. Hey, my partner here, he asked you to step out of the vehicle. Is there a reason you're not stepping out?
what's your probable cause for me to step out?
So there's case law that says that an officer.
But you
can't
need
order
probable
to come out of
cause.
the- No, that is not true.
Okay.
Okay. With that being said, my partner has already told you that you were under arrest, so you do need to come out of the vehicle.
I've been under arrest for.
Okay, so I want to just this is probably for me and for what I do and the reason I started my channel. He said there's case law that allows us to pull you out of the car, and let me just say right now, the case law is Terry versus Ohio. The extension of Terry versus Ohio is Pennsylvania versus Mims. Terry versus Ohio is why some random cuck wearing a slave catcher badge can pull you over and say that you have to get out of your car. And so Supreme Court law supports that I'm a tyrant. When Danny has not, he doesn't want to get out of the car because he doesn't want to be hurt, which is about to happen right now. He's about to be hurt by these people.
What? I'm gonna wait till your supervisor because I'm scared of y'all.
That's fine, sir.
I'm physically scared of y'all. Y'all are going to fucking kill me.
Okay. Well, I've got no reason to do that.
Yeah. You got no reason to follow me around and talk to me either. Hey, y'all, I'm at a Home Depot on University. If somebody wants to come and get Stormy, they're going to arrest me again. You want to read this?
That's fine. I don't need to read that right now. I just need you to step out of the vehicle for me.
Is your supervisor here?
He's on his way.
Okay, I'll wait for your supervisor. Once again, another vehicle just pulled up.
I believe that's my supervisor there.
Okay.
And you're just going to get a bigger pig. Here they come. Here they come.
Hello.
Yep. Name and badge number?
Corporal Carpenter.
I know. I've met you before. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I've met you before.
What's that?
I said I've met you before.
Okay. So what's going on today? They said you wanted a supervisor.
Yeah.
Nothing was going on. He was just traveling down the road. There was nothing going on before. There's a half a dozen pigs around him.
Yes, he says I'm under arrest for traveling.
I believe he said you were under arrest for, was it no registration and no license?
And no license plate. The thing you've been cited for multiple times.
Yeah, and I went to court, and the judge hasn't decided if I can or can't yet.
Okay.
So you might want to read these. These are case laws.
Okay.
Will you take a minute to read these?
Okay. So you're under arrest. Okay. So we need you to
For under arrest for driving not driving, but for traveling down the roadway.
Correct.
Do you have a supervisor?
No, I don't.
You don't have a sergeant because you're just a corporal. Is there a lieutenant or somebody with brass?
There's no lieutenants here tonight.
There's no lieutenants here tonight.
No, sir.
Okay, you know I'm having a meeting with your chief, right?
Okay.
You don't care about that either?
No.
To be discussing this because y'all been
I'm not sure what that has to do with this situation.
this situation because this is constitutionally protected activity.
Okay. So you're under arrest for the charges that we said. If you don't step out of the vehicle, you're going to be additionally charged with interference.
Interference. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna turn my truck on so I can roll up my windows.
No, don't do that, Mr. Black.
I'm just gonna roll up my windows.
After the fact.
What's that?
We'll turn your windows up after the fact.
After
You
the
can do it
fact.
with the door open, so that way we know that you're not.
They have to have total control over whether his windows go up or not. Listen.
Truck on so I can roll up my windows.
No, don't do that, Mr. Black.
I'm just gonna roll up my windows.
After the fact.
What's that?
We'll turn your windows up after the fact.
After the
We control you completely. You are our slave and our bitch.
the
Do it
fact.
with the door open, so that way we know that you're not gonna take off on it.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not cranking it on.
Preposterous.
Fuck, man.
Sucks, Danny. Sucks. Here he goes. Here comes the torture cuffs. There it is, guys, right there. There it is. So let me bring my guest back on here. So Danny, you first, man. Did the cuffs hurt?
Oh yeah, Chille. They actually I asked them to put double cuffs on me because I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'4", 230. And they went ahead and done that, but they were so fucking tight. Excuse my language, YouTube Chinese pricks. And they done that. They were on as they was walking me to the car. They had 2 cops on both of my arms. That little short piggy, the one that come up, the second one, while we was walking to the car, tried to pressure point my elbow. You know. And when he done that, he slung my arm forward. He pushed my arm forward and tried to pressure point me, to try to get me to resist, because what is it going to do on his body cam? He sees my arm slinging forward. They don't know he pushed it. So what I done is like, hey, mother, you what are you trying to do? Get me to resist on body cam. So they would hear that on body cam. When I got to the county, I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, these cuffs are so freaking tight. I was like, you need to bring your camera and take pictures. I was like, I want you to take pictures of my wrist. He would not do it. So what he done is he took his body cam off and he set it down while he was doing his paperwork, and he faced it toward me. When the bailiff came in, he took the cuffs off, and what I done is I stood up and I put my wrist in front of his body camera so I would get it on his body camera. So it
just happened to me. And everybody, endtorturecuffs.com. You can post your story on endtorturecuffs.com. Sorry for interrupting you, Danny.
No, you're good, Chille.
I want everybody to be able to, and I want you, Danny, to go to endtorturecuffs.com and post your story and tell us the whole story. It takes, just so you know, when I haven't done it yet, I started. It takes a long time. So, okay. So now, Paul, what's your take on them arresting him?
Well, I mean, he could have just cooperated and complied. Right? Am I right? I mean,
they came to arrest
him. Never happened.
They came to arrest him.
Oh yeah.
They pulled him over and said, you're under arrest.
Within 30 seconds.
Obviously, I'm being flippant because these folks are NPCs. They're avatared. They're in a state of beingness. Just like they'll say, you're in a state of. I go, I'm not in anything, all right, except maybe a universe. This state of that you all talk about is a state of beingness I think you're all a part of. Where you're all
money. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Paul. Where's the money? How did they take your truck?
Not this time. They did last time.
Okay. What about your body? How much did it cost you to get your body out of the dungeon?
Well, he arrested me on Class C misdemeanors. Class C is not a crime by definition. A crime by definition is a jailable offense, and that's a Class B or a Class A misdemeanor. A Class C misdemeanor is only fine only.
Okay, so it's a walk through the jail. They just booked you and released you on your own recognizance, or you had to bail out?
He told me they gave me a PR bond, but they said I had to wait 3 to 4 hours to get bonded, so they could. And I just sat there basically, but they waited 6 hours before they let me out.
And did you sit in the torture cuffs at the dungeon?
For about 30 minutes, I was there. I was kept asking them to take the cuffs off.
Right. Okay. So what, Paul, I think, I look to you to kind of like be the grand poobah here in this space, because I've seen you do it. I've seen you smack the coppers down respectfully, not disrespectfully. I'm much more disrespectful than Paul is. And so what's your advice to Danny? And how do you see it going? And, I want everybody to email me. I want everybody to email me right here. Go to deletelaws.com and put constitutional travel on the subject line of your email. I want to know how many people want to constitutionally travel. And that's what they believe they have a right to travel. I just want to know how many people are really into this. That's why I put this up here. Go to my website, deletelaws.com with a Z, and then put on your subject line, constitutional travel. I want to know how many people are into it. Okay, Paul. So I don't know the answer, and so many people ask me, and I'm a great big dunce cap in only, I know I don't know a way around it, and I hate it. So I'm hoping you have some.
The point is that these folks are corrupt. They're already in a duality here where they're going to continue doing what they've always done, and we're going to get what we've always got, and it's going to get worse and become more encroaching in all areas of our life. So they'll ask me the same thing, and I tell them, you got to do what's true and what's right because it's a conviction you hold in your heart. You have to know who and what you are and what you're not. That's the only thing that's going to give you faith to continue. There is no bulletproof answer. As the man told you, these folks are corrupt. They don't know objective right from wrong, and they're not even willing to read their own shit and understand it. So this is a long game. We just got to hold fast, stay vigilant, stay willful, stay disciplined and principled, and surrender in faith, right? What's the only other option? Comply, cooperate, and live like a slave more and more in many areas of our life.
No, I'm going to be governor, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to change so many things because you have to have executive power. Without executive power, nothing gets accomplished. We're screwed. Totally screwed from top to bottom.
But this is back to that public fool system and what it taught us. It taught us to go into the system to change the system. The original true government of the land is of the people, by the people, for the people. These are persons under U.S. code, which means legal actors. They're corporate actors. So, I mean, I applaud you. I applaud your enthusiasm. I'm open to see what you can do. But we know how the drain the swamp routine goes. And it's for a reason, because this is a corporate commercial endeavor that they've united with an idea of government. And they've created a separate jurisdiction for public welfare to get us all to buy into it. And most people are in and don't even know it. They bought in, they believe it, they choose it, and they even want to continue in it to change it. All we have to do, I believe, is correct our status, step out of this system and say, we understand the law and a lawful society versus legal statute, policy, and codes and a legal society.
There has to be. So that's why I put up said, go to my website and send me an email and put constitutional travel on it. Because for that to work, there's going to have to be literally millions of guys like Danny who are willing to take the ride and be arrested. And so just to go back to what Danny was talking about, the money, because it always boils down to money with the government. They want money. So now how much money do you have to pay them? It's just fines, and you don't have a driver's license to suspend. So that's what they do to everybody else. They put you in this pyramid system where you got to pay to get your car out or you out, and you can barely afford that. And so that's how it goes. And it just keeps on going. But where are you at now with money? How much money do they want from you for you traveling down the road?
Well, Chille, the first time they towed my truck, I was in for about 8 hours, and it was almost $400 to get out. And the cash I had with me, they stick all my cash on a card that you can't get cash out. So after you get out of jail, you can't get cash off of that card. They made me pay the fines that I'm not guilty of, haven't been proven guilty of. They made me pay all those fines before I could get out of jail.
How much was $400?
For just to get my truck out. It was
how much were the fines?
About $1,500, like $1,400.
You're $2,000. That's
$2,000.
Put a 1 in the chat if you don't have an extra $2,000. and if you don't put a 1 in the chat, my Cash App is put a 1 in the chat if you don't have an extra $2,000. Hold on, wait, let me get in there. Okay. $2,000. How'd you come up with that money?
Just had won a lawsuit off of College Station.
From the police department?
Yep, from the police department.
Oh.
It started 4 days. This has started 4 days after I won a lawsuit.
Go ahead, Paul. Sorry. Jump in. Oh, I muted you. I'm getting feedback from your mic, Paul. It's sorry. I'm not muting you.
My apologies. So maybe it's let me try to tell me if that makes it any better long term. But I was just going to say, Mr. DeCastro, that when we start studying, see, I'm not a big fan of their legal process when it comes to defendant, right? Defend means take away your ability to fend for yourself. I just go with understanding of I am that am and spiritual faith and the definitions of words and terms. But when it comes to, like you say, all they understand is money, Mammon and Moloch, well, that's when we start tapping their pockets. Because they know, like I know, they're making examples out of people to get everybody scared because they're worried that folks like you are going to keep getting arrested and investigating them and stacking up their incompetence and eventually start taking them for a whole bunch of paper. And that's when the dynamic changes. It's already happening. There's a lot going on right now, right? That you ain't going to be told about.
Yeah. I feel like the only way it's going to change is if one of us gets to executive power. I don't think that peons, and there was a Yale study done on this maybe 15 years ago that showed the ability for you to be able to change government. Even the highest donors who give millions of dollars in contributions only can move the needle a little bit unless you're a Koch brother or a Soros. So but that's how I feel. That's what I believe in my heart from my 48 years on earth. I don't think anything changes until one of us who truly has the idea that we leave behind a better world like John F. Kennedy did. Until we get there, I think we're all doomed. Like you said, it'll get worse and worse and worse. And the more technology advances with artificial intelligence and cameras, as long as we have law enforcers in this country, it's going to get worse for us. They'll use the technology to enforce laws upon us. In other countries now, when you drive from point A to point B, if you made it too fast, they give you a ticket. They send you a ticket in the mail.
But again, a lot of this is about conviction. It goes back thousands of years. It's spiritual. What you hold in your heart is your conviction. It's because you keep saying, and we all keep believing, that laws are codes, that they get us every time. So, and they'll say, Paulie is doing mythology, because I just, there's this intuition I get, and I've seen results. There's a human element. When you walk in the room, they're going to ask you, who and what are you, and what do you stand for? You use the wrong word with the wrong energy, they go, we got one. Sheep slave, public's fool system. He doesn't know who and what he is and what he's talking about, because he wouldn't have used that word. The same thing I do on my panel. We have to get so clear and concise with these words and terms and how we use them and the energy behind them. They have to know you're the deal. They have to know you're a man of the people. You're honorable, like everything they claim. And then they have to say, do we really want to keep playing with these people? In Nevada now, there's a few counties. They're not enforcing policy and code anymore. They said, we're done with it. Okay, because a bunch of folks went there and started doing this. They said, we're only going to uphold the law. Right? The God-given rights, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, peacekeeping. Nobody calls us. There's no breach of the peace. We don't police because we ain't at a prison, right? We ain't looking for everybody and what they're doing. We're there to keep the damn peace. So if it's not breached, we don't have a job. So it's already happening, right? Certain counties say we're out. We're not doing the slavery and the revenue generation. We're going to uphold God's law, and we're going to redeem ourselves.
Which I'm in Nevada right now. Which counties are those?
I'd have to look into it. But I can't confirm or deny. I haven't been there firsthand. I don't have firsthand testimony, but I was given knowledge. Right. And this is from various press releases that they've told me about. And, I'm pretty sure I've seen something on that, a documentation. They regularly send stuff out and say, for now, stop playing too much with the citizen slaves, especially the ones who are starting to get onto the idea of rights and freedoms, because we're like awakening a sleeping giant here. It's in our genetics. It's in our history, right? So we don't have to, I believe, work through the system to change the system. We have to get our mind and heart and lifestyle out of the system. Change yourself, change the world, even if it's 1/7 billion. Right? You will influence and affect. And if not, you're going to learn how to tap their pockets, and you're going to come up on being a lawful, honorable man. Everybody wants to get to a bag. What better way to get to a bag than being a true patriot, like everyone claims, right? On these Fox noise, right? So you're standing for rights, freedom, and principles. They did wrong to you. You tapped their pockets, and you went and bought a house outright with the right documents, so you actually own it and then put it into trust. So you have no duty and obligation with the public sphere. Then they can't touch
on your point there. I just sued Las Vegas Metro Police Department with 5 defendants. So just so people understand, number one, all of my lawsuits are still ongoing, but number two, that just costs Clark County $30,000 to $50,000 to reply to my lawsuit against them, and money is their god. So whether or not I win or lose, whack. I just whacked them, and I'll continue to whack them, and I'll win, and I'm not going to stop until I do win. And sorry, go ahead. And so, Danny, how are you going to continue to travel in your property?
Of course, I'm not. They can't break me. They can throw me in jail. So what? I'm going to get out. I'm just going to file another lawsuit on them. And part of me showing them that paperwork, they lose qualified immunity because they were put on notice of the laws that they're breaking. So they can't say, oh, well, I didn't know, and try to claim ignorance of the law. So yeah, lawsuits are incoming. It's just going to get really expensive, but you know, I'm just using their money that they just gave me. So, you know, all they can do is put me in a cell and put me in cuffs, but they're not going to break me. I'm not going to go and put a tag and get back in their jurisdiction. If they want to continue to stalk me and harass me, and you know, there's ways to get around it.
This is Danny's page, everybody. So get over there to egochecker.com. They're going to continue to target him. So I'd like my people to subscribe to keep up with him, so that you can alert me if a video comes out and he's in jail and we got to do a fundraiser to get him out. You know, you're not alone in this. You know, I raise funds for people who go to jail. And so the next time you get hit with $2,000, you call me from that jail. You got my number, and you know, we'll get you out, because I'm not going to leave anybody in the dungeon if they haven't created a victim. Not when we have a platform and we can crowdsource the funds. So Ego Checker is not going to stop if you guys don't stop. So everybody subscribe to Ego Checker. I'm going to do the same thing for Paul Enslaved here in a second, and his new channel as well. So Paul, what's your final outro on this? What's your position? What you're seeing right now?
Again, I have to take it back to square one. This can't be some kind of hobby. This is a lifestyle, and this is a principle and an ethic. You have to know who and what you are and what you're not. You have to hold true to your understanding, right? Belief requires a choice. Knowing does not, right? I know if you want to call me a man, as a man under USC, it's considered an animal as well. So they got everyone covered with all the lingo. You got to choose your words carefully. But as an honorable man, right, I know I'm who and what I need to be, and I know I'm doing what's true and what's right. That's the best peace that I could ever attain, even at the dungeon. My peace is my power. I used to have to go for being a fuck up from time to time. Now that hasn't been for years. The only time I see a box or am threatened is when I'm standing in what's true and what's right, upholding God's law and living the principles. So if you can make that a part of who and what you are and your beingness, then you're never going to feel like a failure. Even when they do harm to you and cause you loss and you have to sit somewhere, you know that you're right on what you're doing. So that's the value to me of that inner space stuff. That's what I work with most nowadays, is that inner space, because outward security is an illusion sometimes. If you can create an inner space of security and faith, you'll weather any storm.
Man, we're a word lyricist over here for sure. And so you continue to travel as well when you do travel, correct, Paul? And you travel freely as a free man?
Right. Lately, I have folks who, because we had land changes and whatever else, the car that I was using sat there. So I've been, riding with other people who have all the usual stuff. But yeah, when I'm, moving about and that car is on the road, as it usually is, I mean, I've never had a license. I've never had any of the stuff. So it's not like I had it and gave it up. I've never had any of it. Because again, there's nothing to make me believe or understand. They'll say, let me help you understand. There's nothing you could do to help me understand how I can't move my property from here to there without your feelers coming into it. Right. And feelers are not more important than facts. Go ahead.
You know what? No, go ahead. I'll keep going. I didn't mess you up. They're code enforcers, right? They're just simply code enforcers. They're not supposed to be killing us.
That's it. Right. But again, the price of life, the value of life, and this is where I get into inner space, and they'll say, Paulie's off on a self-righteous vegan. I'm not a vegan. But I tell you, karmically, I don't do loss, injury, and harm. I eat plants and vegetables, mostly pizza, really. If you take a look at me, you'll know that. But I don't eat meat anymore because I don't want to be part of that process, because I take this fucking walk so seriously that I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be put in a warehouse and enslaved and genocided, so I don't do that to other beings, right? So to me, again, this is a spiritual walk first. This is a principled walk first. You learn the law, God's law, and then legal process to some degree to move through this life as an honorable man and be above corruption. Because if not, they will get you, like the man said before, I guarantee, we talk about this on the channel, release paperwork. Wizard has brought it up before. They get you when you leave to sign release paperwork. Release means to take out another lease. So they pimped you again. Release. What would release be if you had a home or whatever, a car, you were leasing it?
Releasing it.
Right. So you thought you were signing a paper to be let go and go free, and they just got you to be released back into contract with them for another term. That's where they get you to come to court, right? So every document they're putting in front of you, they're taking your God-given rights and your personal choice and being this because you don't have knowledge of self, the words and terms, my people perish for lack of knowledge. If you knew yourself, go ahead.
Brian from Here's the Deal, he put out a video today that that somebody, one of his guys from, I think they're in Missouri, but this video, man schools troopers during a traffic stop. Now, I've only got to about 23, 24 minutes into it. I didn't know if you guys wanted to stick around and listen to this or not, but this was something that was, I feel like it's a growing thing in America, and I want to know if other people are feeling the same thing because, now, like you were talking about release, now when you sign at the DMV, you're signing up for implied consent. That means that if you get pulled over in a checkpoint and you refuse to take their breath test, they can suspend your driver's license for simply saying, I'm not going to blow in a straw. And that's what's going on at the DMV right now, which I vehemently object to. It's disgusting. It's just, I'm not signing up where I have to give up my rights to coppers. I've done a good job not calling them pigs. So, but I don't want to give up my rights to cops because I have a driver's license, and I resent it. And then everything that I've been listening to on YouTube for the past few years starts to come down home. So, Danny, let's listen to this for a couple of seconds. And this is super interesting. This is right along what you were dealing with. And everybody, this is on Brian's channel. Here's the deal. I'll drop the link in the description so you guys can listen to it.
Yeah, you can see my hand. All right. Hey, the reason I stopped, you don't have any plates on your vehicle. No, I do have a plate on my vehicle. Right, well, a registered plate. Nope. Or a valid, I'm sorry. No, there ain't no valid. Do you have any evidence I'm in transportation or traffic? Where are you headed today, sir? Home. Home. You live here? Went shopping. Okay. No, I live out all right. You got some cattle or animals? Or I got animals. Do you? Okay. I served it. Look, let me tell you something. I understand what you guys are tasked to do. Yes, sir. But I also understand the government's been breaking the law with licensing law. Yes, sir. Okay? I've been studying it for years. I've been doing this for 20 years. Okay. I took $150K from the laptop and aggravated kidnapped me. Right. Under the color of law. I'm not out to hurt anybody. Right. I have $1 million state bond on this in case something happens for my financial liability. Okay. Do you have anything illegal on you or any weapons or anything? Nothing I need to worry about. You care to, if I check or you can show me? Nothing on you. I stopped carrying after cops murdered Chase Allen. Who's that? I'm not familiar. Farmington, Utah. He was doing the same thing I'm doing. They murdered him fucking dead. 5 of them unloaded on him. Mad gun. Yeah. You care to come talk to me? Is that something you do? I'll talk to you right here in front of your camera. Okay. All right. I want it on camera and on my recording. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's how I cover myself. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, but I can't always get a hold of yours, and they redact stuff from yours. And yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that part of it. We've got a whole division for that. That is cambered, right? Yes, sir. Yeah, right there in the front. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, but I'm not out to hurt anybody. No one has any. No one has any cause of action against me or nor standing. Yes, sir. This is false imprisonment right now. Okay. Now I understand what you're tasked to do, so I get it. Right. So and I don't know I've ran into. Would you consider yourself a sovereign citizen, or what do you consider yourself? No such thing. You can't be a sovereign and a citizen. Yeah. You have anything you can consider yourself, or is there anything? Yeah, I'm a man that served this country for freedom for 2 decades, and I'm not licensing my freedom. Right. License is permission to do something unlawful. Right. Does going to the store to get provisions unlawful? No. Yeah, not in itself. No, I agree with you there. This says it all right here. It's not for commerce, driving, operating, transportation, traffic. It's all commercial. Yes, sir. Every bit of it. Okay. All right. Do you have a license, a driver's license? Haven't had one in 20 years. Really? Are you from Missouri? Like, are you originally, or this area, I guess I should say? You're asking me to give up my Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment.
No,
You're questioning me, and I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass.
yeah. No, I'm not either, man.
You're very reasonable, sir.
Yeah, I'm really
but
trying
I've
to be
seen
reasonable.
cops be real nice,
Yes,
like
sir.
the one that aggravated kidnapped me that night. And then when I didn't want to lick his boots, he fucking kidnapped me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not.
So, I mean,
with, you know, whatever situation. I don't know where that occurred,
but anyway, I've been driving around. I've been not driving. It's all terms and sophistication.
Yeah.
I've been
Boom.
using my private automobile around here for 11 years.
Really?
Well, I got this one 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's not registered. State has no interest in it.
Yes,
It's
sir.
my private property.
Yeah.
Well, property.
Right.
But all I'm doing is going home right now. And I come up here about once, sometimes twice a month. I needed some extra feed for the animals this month.
Right. So, and this is not necessarily, I guess, considered.
And I can send you all the facts and evidence if you want to see it and you'll actually read it. I can send you all the crap I have on, and I have it on 2 documents that I can email you. But I'm
So,
not.
are you an off-grid type guy, or do you?
Well, no, we have electricity.
Oh, do you? So you live in like a town?
I'm retired.
Okay. So, but I mean,
He's investigating.
Go ahead.
He's investigating like they all do. If you watch the one with me, he's asking a whole bunch of questions that don't pertain to anything in the stop because he's gathering intel on what kind of people these are.
And so if I didn't serve in the military, so are my rights, you know, and I'll respect to them. Thanks for your service. But, you know, the $1 million question is, are my rights less because I didn't serve the military? Am I less of a person if I don't sit there and answer all of his questions? Are my constitutional rights to travel diminished because I won't have that conversation with the copper? You know, these are bigger questions. These are bigger questions. But, you know, I just wanted to get you guys on the beginning of that. And I think what I will do is I'm gonna pull up the video, Paul, where
did he get a favorable outcome?
I'm not gonna tell anybody because I want people to go to Brian's channel and watch it. His high impact flick just got deleted, so his whole channel, every video of Brian's from high impact flicks, 500,000 subscribers, was deleted. So I would absolutely love for people to go over to his channel. I put the link in the description already, and make sure you watch that video, please. Okay, I think I've got your video right here, Paul. Let's watch a little bit of the education of Paul Unslaved here. And when he gets pulled over and he explains to the copper that he has a right to travel and breaks it down.
Let me just start my video, please.
Your video?
Yeah, I'm just going to record this interaction.
Okay. I need your license.
What makes you believe that I need that to travel from point A to point B?
Because you have no license on your vehicle, sir.
Would you like to see my paperwork?
Yes, I want to ask for it 2 seconds ago.
That's not what I have for you, sir.
Okay.
I have here the definitions from the Motor Vehicle Code. I have the Supreme Court decisions and everything you need here to understand that I don't need a license, registration, or any documentation to travel from point A to point B. It is a right that has been preserved by the Supreme Court and the law of the land.
Okay. Sir, in order to drive in Colorado, you need to have license.
It's not driving. The definition says right there, sir. Driving is doing commerce where you're employed on the road.
ID?
I don't need to present ID unless I'm in the commission of a crime, sir. I have not committed any crime.
You violated traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The definitions are right there, sir. If you'd like to go to court, we can handle it.
I need your ID. Okay. I need your license, insurance, registration. You're operating a motor vehicle.
Did you even look at my paperwork at all?
Sir, I'm looking at your paperwork.
Did you read the definitions? The Motor Vehicle Code definition is in there. It says driving is doing commerce on the roadway. I am not doing commerce. I am not employed. If you could please get a supervisor out here, I'd appreciate it, sir.
Okay, do me a favor and then turn the car off then. I'll get a supervisor out here for you. Okay.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere, sir.
Okay, can you just turn the car off for me then?
Am I obligated to turn my car off? I'm not intending to go anywhere. I'd like to handle this matter and settle it right now. I have no reason to leave. Why would I do that?
Okay. I'm getting another unit out here for your request.
Sure.
Okay. All I asked is to see your license, insurance, registration.
I'm telling you that I don't have such because I'm not required to by law. It's been upheld. It's been upheld by
state
the.
of Colorado. You were required to have
It's-
a license, insurance,
it's
registration,
federally been
operating a
upheld.
motor vehicle on state roads.
The definition is right there from the Motor Vehicle Code. Driving is defined as doing commerce on the roadway employed by somebody. I am not employed to do commerce on the roadway. I am traveling in my private property from point A to point B, which, as it says in there, is my right to do so, upheld many times in the Supreme Court.
Just hang out for a second.
Sure, no problem, bud.
So if he complies with the first one to turn his car off, there'll be another compliance in a minute. So that's why he doesn't comply.
Did you notice also while we wait for the supervisor to come, because there's a pause here, that I create the energy as if to say, you're in a room with me now. I'm not in a room with you. I'm investigating you, and I'm going to hold you accountable. And I'm going to do it in a loving and forgiving.
One of the officers here, so I am recording. Yeah, we're going to see how this goes. Gave him my paperwork, and yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. What were we saying?
Yeah, so I don't even bring in the idea of you think I'm going to run, you think I'm going to hide, you think I'm going to fight. Oh, no, we're getting this on record. I wanted this interaction. I knew when I did this, I was going to get some static and tests and challenges. Exactly what I need.
Sir, there's no circuitous route here. I'm telling
So go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you one more time for your license, search, registration.
I'm going to ask you one more time.
Sir, there's no circuitous route here. I'm telling you.
Can you at least tell me your first and last name and date of birth?
I don't believe that I'm obligated to give you any of that information unless I'm in the commission of a crime. If I'm wrong, please produce the law for me. I'm entitled to see the law if that's the law. This is nothing personal. I have no issue with you. I'm simply trying to abide by the law of the land and by the motor vehicle code and by all the rights given to me in this
I
country.
don't know what motor vehicle code you're following, but in the state of Colorado, you need to have a license, insurance, and registration to operate a motor vehicle on state roads.
Okay, can I give you the definitions of that by Black's Law's dictionary? Operating a motor vehicle is defined
That's
in.
not the dictionary I follow, man.
Then you have a conflict of interest with the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court, which is the highest law of this land, follows Black's Law's dictionary. So I'm not interested in contracting with you or following anything that you follow. Like I said, even in the motor vehicle code, which you guys are following as a corporation, the Supreme Court is beyond that. But let's just take the motor vehicle code. The definition of my understanding of a motor vehicle is a vehicle that is doing commerce on the roadway. It even gives definitions in the code. It says tractor, trailer, bus, or a taxi, right? Taxi driver, bus driver, truck driver. I am not a driver because I'm not transporting or in the act of trafficking any goods or peoples. I am.
Let me ask you a question. What were you doing right there on Colfax then?
Wow.
Operating the motor vehicle. Would you consider yourself a driver
No,
of a motor vehicle?
absolutely not. A driver by definition. I understand there's a colloquialism that we don't understand here, or maybe they haven't told us or we don't understand, but the word driving by definition means you must be employed by somebody. So I was not driving. I was traveling in my private property from point A to point B, which, like I said, the Supreme Court has upheld many times. I have the right to do so. If I was, let's say, doing Uber or some form of hauling goods or services on the roadways, then yes, the government has a right to know that I can operate the roadway to do that business and then tax me, of course. But I'm not doing such. I'm traveling from point A to point B in property that I purchased privately and legally and lawfully.
Wow. Do you notice how he never slips in any way? He lays it out and uses the proper terminology. And you've heard everybody on this podcast today. We've all slipped and said driving, and he never slips. So I don't know if I'm as slick as not in this regard for this particular thing.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What is your name, man? Why do you not want to identify yourself?
I just believe that nothing personal to you. I have had some incidents in the past where any information that I give, as you know, can and will be used against me in a court. And I don't believe that I have any necessity to give any information.
You see my name. Right?
But you're required to produce your name because you are a government employee. It actually says I can ask you for 3 forms of ID, which you have to produce. You cannot ask me for. This is by my understanding of you guys' contractual law to uphold the Constitution and even the codes, quote unquote, of the state and the city. My understanding of that is I am not required to provide any of that information unless I'm being charged or some kind of crime is suspected, which I don't believe.
You're being charged for violating traffic code right now.
If you want to bring those charges, that's fine. But when we go to court and they convict me in the local court, I will go to Supreme Court and you will be held accountable and liable for those charges, just like a credit card. You cannot bring charges and not be held liable for them because the responsibility and onus is on the person bringing them. So I would hope that you'll be able to prove in a court of law, based on case law and everything else, that I don't have a right to not operate. See, this is the game. I don't have a right to take my private property from point A to point B, which like I said, the Supreme Court ruling is in that documentation I gave you. All the definitions are there. So I'm not coming from my own manifestation. I'm not coming from something that I want to be true or made up. I've read the definitions. I've gone through the case law. I've looked at the Supreme Court decisions. It's expressly stated in there. The law is expressed, not implied. This is my understanding of it.
So, Paul, we want a copy of that document that you gave him, by the way. So make sure you email that over to me.
This is the best part of it.
I'm a man who does no harm.
I know.
And that's how I live my life. I live my life.
No, I mean, hold on real quick. Give me 1 second.
I've seen this 5 times. So
no, I don't even mean this part. I mean, the best part of it is they always say that we want the document. It was like 3 definitions, right? It just was the definition of driver, the definition of motor vehicle, the definition of traffic, and transportation. It's all commercial terms. So how can you substantiate I'm doing any of that activity when it's all commercial terms? It's very basic, right? It was more the interaction, and I think the supervisor who came, who realized he probably dealt with this before and didn't want to go further with me.
Wait till we get to the supervisor. The verbal judo is just...
I've looked at the Supreme Court decisions. It's expressly stated in there. The law is expressed, not implied. This is my understanding of it. I'm a man who does no harm, and that's how I live my life. I live my life by truth and doing no harm, the law of love. I have no issues with you or anybody else, and I'm not in the doing anything wrong at this time. I've caused no loss, injury, or harm to anybody.
Do you see how he's being kind and he's being human?
I'm taking my property from point A to point B.
Do you live in Lakewood, Denver? Where do you live, man?
I would rather not answer any questions.
And giving nothing.
Sir?
Okay. Do you live in the state of Colorado?
I'd rather not answer any questions.
Okay. Well, you're operating a motor vehicle in the state
I'm not operating a motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is defined in the paperwork as a vehicle on the roadways doing commerce. This is not a commercial vehicle.
You're operating a light blue Nissan Maxima with no license plates. So
I'm not operating. I'm traveling from point A to point B. Then I guess we have a disagreement in the understanding. I presented you paperwork. You've presented me nothing other than your understanding. So my understanding is backed by definition, Supreme Court rulings, and the motor vehicle code. You've given me nothing except what you believe to be true. So where can we go with this?
Just schooling him.
Statements that I've made to you are ones that are produced in Colorado revised statutes.
Can you show them to me?
On traffic law.
Can you show them to me?
I can.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab the book right now and just open it up and scroll through the pages for you.
Well, I was kind enough to have all my paperwork and things in order and my understanding here to present to you.
You have not provided me with any proof of insurance, any driver's license, or any proof
Sir,
of registration.
The paperwork that I provided to you makes those things not applicable to me because I am not doing commerce on the roadway. This
provided me 3 printouts
of the definitions of the words in the motor vehicle code and the Supreme Court ruling. Didn't you swear an oath to uphold the Constitution and the law of the land? The Supreme Court is the highest law in the land. So that one decision that I showed you should be enough for you to either go and look at what I'm presenting again and give a deeper, more detailed look at it, or to understand that we have no interaction right now. Because like I said, there's many Supreme Court cases on file. That is the law we're supposed to follow in this country. We can have disagreements in local court, but these have already been decided upon. The Supreme Court will hear my case as well if you guys bring charges, because I will take it there.
We will be bringing charges.
Sir, again,
for violating traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The word violation in law means to cause loss, injury, or harm. It also means to sexually advance on someone when it's unwanted. I did not do any of those things. So, again, we have to get our words and terms in line with the definitions of what we all are agreeing on here is the English language. We cannot use words and not agree on the definitions. I'm not making up my own definitions. The state of Colorado is a whole other discussion. And furthermore, it doesn't even come into this because, like I said, any roadways federally, the people, a man, a woman has a right to use the public roadways to travel from point A to point B. It's been ruled on. You cannot have a government organization who's supposed to work for the people come in to tax the people to use what is the people. That is fraud. You may disagree with me. I, however, have the truth, the definitions, the facts, and the case rulings on my side. So like I said, if you bring charges forth, I expect you to show up on the day of whatever the proceeding will be. And then I expect you to show up at the Supreme Court proceeding. And we will have a discussion in front of whoever needs to be there about what I have the right to do and not do, since you seem to believe you have a right to stop me and take up my time and take a right off me. We'll have that discussion if that's what you choose to do. I don't believe you should, because I think by conversing with me, you can ascertain that I am an upstanding, intelligent individual who's out here doing no harm, and I have no, there's really no reason to have any issues with me.
Why is that?
Because like I said, and we can get into all other things. I don't know if you're interested in all that, but you see where our country's going, and what we're doing right here is part of the reason why. But I'm glad we're doing this, and I expected this, so it's not really an issue for me. I have to stand on what's true and what's right. I have to stand on my conviction, in my heart, and what the definitions and the understanding tells me. So that's all I'm attempting to do.
I think we might have a misunderstanding upon definitions here.
Again, the Supreme Court, it's been the Supreme Court. So let's say we both didn't understand definition. Supreme Court has heard all these cases, and the judges have ruled over and over again that the right of if you want, I can search them for you right now, the quotes. The right of the people to use the public roadways is an untaxable, uninfringible right. You cannot tax somebody, force them to get registration, force them to get insurance. You cannot force any of that. All interactions in this country are supposed to be voluntary. They're not supposed to be under coercion and duress. Do this or else, and you can't use fear and safety as a reason to take people's rights.
Okay. My supervisor's here. If you said you wanted to talk to him.
That's what gets really good.
Again, it's more about what you plan on doing, because if you plan on moving forward contractually, then obviously he's going to be the one here to supervise that whole situation, and then he will be on record to go to court as well, being okay with the fact that he supervised you, stopping me, taking my time and my rights, and then telling me that I don't have a right to do what's already been ruled on I have a right to do. Okay. That's the only reason I want him here, so that we're all under the same understanding.
Sure.
How you doing, sir?
Good. Hey, I'm Sergeant Valdez. I understand your sovereign stuff and everything and all that. What do you prefer to be?
Yeah, I don't
living man, or how do you?
I don't even like to get into the terms and labels.
No,
I'm just a man.
Yeah. Okay.
Just like you are.
Or just a man.
Just a man. Just like you are a man. You're a man. I'm a man.
Understood.
And from my understanding, again, like I told this man, was that I've done my research. I have a conviction in my heart. Okay. My mind and my logic aligns with that. Logic, morals, and ethics. This is private property. I purchased it legally and lawfully. Understood. And I'm taking it from point A to point B. And the Supreme Court has ruled that I do not need to register, license, or any of that unless I'm doing commerce on the roadways. I handed in the definitions, has all the definitions there, what's in the Motor Vehicle Code and what Black's Law says. That operating motor vehicles defined as doing commerce on the roadway.
I understand. So, sir, just so you know, obviously, we don't recognize that within our municipality laws.
It's common law.
And I understand the common law and stuff, but our laws are obviously not in tune with your common law and the way it's practiced. So the court's gonna have to be the one to dispute those. Do you understand the reason he pulled you over? And
Absolutely not.
Why? Okay.
Absolutely not.
Have you been told why you've been pulled over this afternoon?
He told me his perception, but I don't understand it at all.
Okay. And so we can help you understand the perception of why you're pulled over and what he told you. What did he specifically tell you?
He believes, like a lot of officers believe, that the common law, like you just said, does not apply to them. However, this is not my common law. Common law is the law of the land. It's backed by the Supreme Court and the Constitution.
What is the officer's common law perspective on why the stop was initiated for you?
Oh, I would have no idea, because common law is defined as loss, injury, or harm needing to take place in order to move forward. I did not do any of those things. Okay. So his corporate law or legal understanding would be that I am an employee of a corporation. I would assume this is understanding somewhere, because again, motor vehicle means a vehicle doing commerce on the roadway. Driver means someone employed by someone to do commerce on the roadway. The code even describes tractor trailer, taxi driver, or bus driver. That's why we use the term driver. Anybody who's behind this is not a driver. A driver is defined as someone employed to do commerce on the roadway. I am not that. I am a man taking my property from point A to point B.
So what is the reason for the stop today? No plates. Okay. That's a common thing that we obviously enforce and do with our laws and what we believe in and what we have to do. So the probable cause exists for him, not with you, in your understanding, for him to go ahead and initiate a traffic stop based on the plates.
What is his reason to believe that I'm driving this vehicle?
Well, you're operating the vehicle and driving, and you were observed driving it. Whether
I
you
wasn't
believe-
driving. Driving is defined as commerce.
Driving
Can you
is
read the
you-
paper?
I understand your version of it.
No,
but
that's
our
the
version
definition
is
by
different.
Black's Law Dictionary and
I
the Motor
understand,
Vehicle
but
Code.
we don't follow that.
The Supreme Court does. So then
we're not the Fed. We don't operate under the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but you swore an oath to uphold the law of the land and the Constitution. The
absolutely.
Supreme Court is the highest law of the land.
But ours is under a municipality, and ours is under the Jefferson County division. So you'd have to go to the Jefferson County for anything. Has he issued you any ticket or done anything?
No, sir.
Well, exactly. So we're in a common state here of just talking about the
Sure.
situation, and that's it. And you're being cordial, and you're
And that's a
expressing your
good thing
views.
because we
Yeah,
need
no.
to have these
Well,
discussions.
that's it. And so that's what he's discussing with
Sure.
you. So understanding your beliefs and what you think aren't necessarily ours, because what we have to practice a certain thing, there's an understanding there. I hope you know that. Obviously, we pulled you over because we don't have the same understanding of what your understanding is of the law. Do you understand that? As long as we have a common agreement on that, I'm good. You're going to have your definition of it is. We're going to have what our obligations are.
But what
Whether-
is yours based on?
So ours is based on Colorado revised statutes and traffic codes that we are to enforce. That's what ours is
The
based
term
on.
trafficking means to take goods from
And
one
I-
place to
I
another.
understand that-
That's why
I
drug
under-
trafficking is defined as
I
taking
understand
drugs
that-
from one
yeah,
place to the
I
other. I'm
understand.
not trafficking anything.
But by
I'm
our-
traveling, sir.
Listen. By our standards and our Colorado revised statutes, you are an operator of a vehicle operating a motor vehicle. This is a motor vehicle, and I could sit and I could have coffee with you, and I'd love going into this stuff. But I'm just telling you the way it is and how it works for us, and that's what he's trying to tell you is the reason why you were pulled over and all that stuff. And you said I'm just a man. I appreciate that and stuff like that. If he's asking you for identification, you don't want to give it. I understand why you're not wanting to give it and why you believe that you don't have to give it and stuff. If he were to ask you, what would your name be given by the corporation or the land, as far as government is what we see as government, would you have a legal name under that? What would be your false name that you be giving, which would be the government name that we go to that would be given to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you're comfortable in providing that with him,
Yeah, no, I would.
that's what he wants.
Yeah,
You
I'd rather
understand what
not.
I'm
I'd
saying?
rather not provide anything because again, once I provide any kind of information, I'm contracting with him.
Understand.
And I would rather not contract with him. Again, this first of all, again, we can go back to you guys' rules. Those red and blue lights are not to be pulling people over. Those are emergency lights. They're to be used for people to move over so they can move past. Just by me pulling over, I have submitted to something that I know is incorrect because the purpose of those lights are emergency lights. They're not for pulling people over.
So let me
I
ask
did so because I understand that in
That's what I
today's
wanna
day
ask
and
you.
age,
Why did you
that
wanna
if I
pull
do
over?
not do that and I go like this and say,
Sure.
go ahead, which is what it actually tells you should do when a policeman pulls up behind you and the regulation says, oh, roll down your window, pull over, and wave him on. I did not do that because then he'll say, oh, you were trying to. I understand the psychology of how most officers think. I understand
You complied and you pulled over and stuff, and that's a start.
because I want this interaction.
Well, that's
I
great.
want the
And I
interaction one way or the
appreciate
other. We have to get it on record.
Have you interacted like this in a court of law already?
I would rather not get into that.
Understood. But I'm just, and if you have,
I have a lot of experience in a courtroom and with the material.
Perfect. And so with that being said and stuff, I just want you, so we're not wasting time and being naive on
Sure.
understanding all this stuff. You're an educated man. You understand what your beliefs are. We have our certain rules that we have.
They're
to
not my.
adhere
Can
to
you
and
just
stuff.
say? I don't mean to be. I'm not being a dick. They're not my beliefs, sir. It's
Well,
a knowing that I've come to based on eternal truth. This truth is not going to change
It's a
whether
belief if
you
hold it true to
understand.
your heart.
It's a conviction.
practice.
It's a conviction. The same thing the court will have to use to
Absolutely.
either convict me or not, because it rests in my heart and it cannot be changed by any other man's belief. A belief and a conviction are two very different things.
I understand.
You know?
I understand. And you hold it true to yourself.
Absolutely. I live by certain morals, logic, and ethics that I hold myself to
So you have a
at all
belief-
times.
You have a belief in the Constitution.
Not a belief. I have a knowing that the Constitution is codified based on universal law, that no man has the right to rule over any other man. That will always be a truth since the day we came here to the day we die, because it is illegitimate. It's based on coercion, duress, and force.
So you have a knowing.
I have a knowing. It is unchanging. I am the same yesterday as I am today as I will be tomorrow.
Okay, and I hope you can respect that. Obviously, we have a knowing and understanding.
You have a
what our
belief
judge-
system that you are adhering to, and it is not in line with truth, sir.
It may not be in line with your truth. but
No,
it's in
the
line
truth
with
is
our
unchanging. You have your perspective, I have my perspective.
Well,
By
that's
us,
just it. That's a difference.
by us
That's a
conversing,
difference.
we come to one truth,
Absolutely.
and
Well,
that truth is unchanging.
we might not come to an agreement on the truth, but we will come to a truth.
The universe has one truth that we all must come to understand. If we don't, we will suffer consequences individually and together.
I appreciate your cooperation. And
sure.
Understand with it. You've been more than pleasant to deal with on it, and I've dealt with many people that have the same understanding of things as you do and stuff like that. So let me talk to my officers and see what the plan is here and stuff. And I appreciate your cooperation.
I appreciate you, sir. You've been cordial with me. You had a good rapport with me, and you haven't been forceful in any way.
I got no reason why. So thank you for your cooperation. Give me 1 second, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Paul, go ahead. You got the floor. I know there's a silent part right here for a second.
I'm getting a little bit emotional, Castro.
Nice,
I'm tearing
bro.
up a little bit because they
brilliant.
just don't understand. Like, you know, I put my everything into this shit, bro. Like, this ain't a fucking hobby for me. Like, this is what's true and what's right objectively. You know, I'm not out here playing games trying to get away with shit. Like, I had to respect myself and come to know myself and stand on truth so that I could get off drugs and the rest of it. Right? So I'm not going back to hating myself and disrespecting myself. And part of that process is doing this. So if you can understand that man to man, then we really have no problem. Lock me the fuck up and whatever else.
So I know from my education.
Mr. Valdez.
I don't expect you to say Sergeant Valdez or anything.
Yeah, I mean, even a judge, right? Like any man, once you take it out of the, you know, a man has duties and responsibilities, right? So one of those duties and responsibilities would be acting as someone.
Sure.
Right? So a judge is acting as a judge, but he is a man first.
If you're employed in whatever you do, what's your like trade and what do you do that's your specialty as far as employment? Would you be referred to your title of employment? So like if you were a DJ or something at a club?
Absolutely not.
So how do you?
Absolutely not, because that is an ability to respond. That is a responsibility that I take on in order to generate currency in this realm. But who I am and what I am is even beyond a man, because the man is I'm only taking temporary possession of my physical body.
But how do you end up doing it? Like how would you classify your job title and stuff like that?
This guy's distracting me. I'm sorry.
If you had a job title, like how would you classify yourself in a job title? To work, if you do you work? Okay, so you do work and you get U.S. currency and all that stuff like that, and you do have to pay taxes.
Oh, I don't get into all that. I'm not going to get into all that.
Regardless of that, if you have a title, do you have to put a title? If you go to apply for a job, do you have to adhere to that title?
I mean, that title, while I'm operating under that, what would be the word here? But like in that capacity, when I'm operating
company, though.
Yeah, when I'm on their clock and I'm taking money from them back to commerce, right? If I'm employed on the roadways, then I'm classified as a driver. So you would refer to me as a driver. But if I'm not taking money to do a service, then I have no classification or title. Which
that's why I asked you about it. Like if you were a DJ at a club and stuff, and you were taking money from.
I'm DJ. I'm DJ jerk off. Yeah, you know,
whoever.
On Friday night when I'm taking money and I'm in the club, but I'm still a man first, right?
Okay.
Like I'm acting as a DJ, just like we're all acting, you know, in the world. Like Shakespeare said, you know, all the world is a stage. We're all players upon it.
I understand.
You know.
Okay, so you cover your VIN for the purposes of no identification and stuff like that, right?
Well, I just know the whole routine, and I know that there's always going to be some end road into trying to build a case. And this vehicle is not stolen. This vehicle's not reported stolen. There's no reason to believe I'm not the owner of it. So I don't believe that anybody has the right to.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, for us to not, the ignition's not punched. You cooperated. You pulled over. Those are uncharacteristics of somebody who's stolen a vehicle and stuff like that. But I mean, through. And I don't want to get into semantics for us. Through our beliefs of what we have and stuff as far as operating a vehicle on a roadway, it has to be licensed, registered, all the stuff that you already know and stuff, what our beliefs are and what we practice and what we adhere to. Then has to be present, all that stuff that we have.
There also is officer discretion on all these things.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
if I provide you with an understanding that, you know, leads you to a deeper understanding on your end of what I'm out here doing, and I'm not causing any loss, injury, or harm, then
you've been more than cooperative with me, and that's why they called me over here and stuff so I could talk to you about this, because I'm also fascinated by all this stuff too.
And that's a good thing, man. It's great to see.
Well, I want to educate myself on
it. But that's the thing. You say it like it's common sense. I've dealt with a lot of officers, and they'll tell me, "Listen, I don't even care what the truth is," and they'll tell me, "You seem like a smart guy. Just do as you're told." I didn't even do that with my own parents. You know, I'm not going to do that with anybody in this realm. I do what the truth leads me to an understanding.
So now, Paul, you know, as you're going down it with this supervisor, you know, he's pretty receptive to what you're saying. And where are you now emotionally as you're in this process with him? Because your freedom is right there, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, since the time that he radioed in and said, someone on the way, not cooperating, I'm pretty much in the mode of speaking from my heart and waiting for them to lock me up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we leaving it all on the field at this point because we know, it's sink or swim. So I'm so in the flow and speaking from my heart and trying to speak to his soul and his any sense of good nature and reason and objective logic, and then just surrender the outcome, But of course, there's fear and trepidation, right? Anyone who tells you they never experience fear, I don't think is being honest, right? Courage is defined as feeling fear and doing what's right.
That's right.
So a coward is someone who feels fear and abandons their principles. So I was just practicing that.
On this one, I don't want to give anything away here, but there's a pretty, this is wild. I'll let you guys watch. Oh,
so I had to have it edited because they took the original one down for false claims. Yeah, they were making false claims and took it down, so I had to edit it to put it back up.
Is it still up? If it is, where can we find the end of that real quick?
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's still there. It's just a couple words are going to be sort of redacted like they do because, everyone's got policy and they're, we're saying that
I keep going further down here because
I started talking one world order and a whole bunch of stuff.
I don't comply with anything. Stolen vehicle.
That's all I'm asking you.
You're personally asking me.
I'm personally anything else like that. Your idea of what
I'm not going to do that with a lot of.
Okay, so I want to get to where
discretion on all these things because if I provide you with an understanding that leads you to a deeper understanding on your end of what I'm out here doing, and I'm not causing any loss, injury, or harm, then
you've been more than cooperative with me, and that's why they called me over here and stuff so I could talk to you about this because I'm also fascinated by all this stuff too.
And that's a good thing, man. It's great to see.
Well, I want to educate myself on
it. But that's the thing. You say it like it's common sense. I've dealt with a lot of officers, and they'll tell me, "Listen, I don't even care what the truth is," and they'll tell me, "You seem like a smart guy. Just do as you're told." I didn't even do that with my own parents. I'm not going to do that with anybody in this realm. I do what the truth leads me to an understanding.
So this is where, and I'm just going to lightly fast forward here to where we get
that now. Giving out bad faith health advice.
It is.
Well,
yeah, I would love to have coffee with you.
Anyway. I'm sure you would, because I know where a lot of you guys stand.
So,
a lot of this shit's bullshit.
Here's the thing, sir. So what I have told my officer, instructed my officer is, obviously you have your idea of what you're going to do and what you're focused on and stuff. And I said, well, if he's not going to identify himself and, we're not going to issue him a summons or anything else like that. And he's been more than cordial with us stuff. I asked him to get the VIN at least off the vehicle so we could document the VIN on the vehicle. And that's all I asked him to do. But you have the VIN covered up. So that's why he was looking for the VIN. And that's all I was telling him to do. And he was just going to cut you out of here and get you out of here.
Okay.
So that's what he wanted to do. And if you're good with it, that's what I'd like him to do is just grab the VIN so we can get you out of here and get you on your way. And if you'd like my business card, I'll give you my business card. And more than happy to do
now,
that.
am I obligated to do that?
No, I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking you.
You're personally asking me.
I'm personally saying if you're good with it, if you can do the VIN and get my officer out of here, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, and what's the reason for that? Just to make sure it's not a stolen vehicle.
That's all I want to do. And I don't believe, like I told you, you're being more than cooperative. You pulled over, which is not common, and the fact that it's not punched or anything else like that. And I understand what you're practicing.
Now, typically, I just stick with I don't comply with anything.
No. Don't go to jail.
Not obligated to. Because as a man, you're asking me to do you a favor to make sure this vehicle is not stolen, I will do so. However, as a man, if something comes to that after what you just told me, because you are going to cut me loose, you're not going to give me any summons.
I'm not going to pull you out of a car. I'm not going to take you to Jefferson County Jail. I'm not going to do anything.
You're not going to give me any tickets or any summons?
No, we're not. We're just going to grab the VIN.
Okay.
If you're good with that.
That's fine.
Are you okay with my card?
I would do that.
Sure.
All right, I appreciate
it. And if you ever want to get together on personal time and have a conversation, I'm more than open and willing to do that. As a matter of fact, I look at it as a duty and a responsibility as an American to educate or to help, not even educate. I don't want to bring it to an ego thing, but to bring more understanding together to who and what we are doing here. What our shared role in being Americans is.
Is it the concept for the about? Is it all fall under anything like British law or anything else like that?
That's part of
British law.
Again, this stuff gets very circuitous, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of little things that you have to, little rabbit trails you have to go down. But part of this whole thing, right, stems from the birth certificate, where when there was, and we're going to go through this again, they're calling it the Great Reset now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, of course, because if you say the wrong thing now on YouTube, they'll just delete you. You're not allowed to go against the narrative, even though the Chinese censors are watching us now. They're paying very close attention. If the rats get enough momentum.
We had a Great Depression. They came in with a system, birth certificate, social security number, where the government promised everybody benefits and privileges in exchange for their rights. And all they had to do was be given a number and a secondary name.
What about the vaccine? Totally against it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can't say anything. You're not allowed to say anything. Don't say anything, because if you say anything, they're listening. They're listening. They're listening.
The spy balloons.
What
The
about
spy balloons.
so with you? Obviously, you go shopping and stuff to get stuff and everything. And do they confront you when you don't wear your mask or anything? Do they confront you when you don't wear your mask?
Yeah, they do.
So,
but
is it all cool though? You go in and they don't say anything?
I converse with them the same way that I talk to you. I try to be loving. I try to be compassionate. I try to be faithful, and I try to deliver them a message that touches their spirit, so that they can open their mind and heart to the truth that we're all supposed to be experiencing here.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Okay, well, I appreciate you talking to me about it and stuff like that.
I appreciate you having a care in your heart, man. There's not many people nowadays who care for anything, let alone truth and what's right.
It's a crazy world right now.
Absolutely.
As you know.
Absolutely. And that's why we need to do our due diligence, and we need to be vigilant as far as serving truth, because we can serve our belief systems, our egos, our careers, all this nonsense. If we don't serve the one truth, we're all going to lose it all soon, sir. We're going to lose our economy, our currency, which is a fiat currency backed by no gold and silver. It's losing its value day by day. They're moving over to electronic currency. There's a reason for all this stuff. This is not conspiracy theory. This is big corporations, big business, certain big banking, central banking, cartels.
Bitcoin, BMO.
Bro, it's all connected. You see the internet censorship now. You see the left-right division in the politics. You got Black Lives Matter. You got supposed right-wing racists. It's all divide and conquer, man. They've been doing it since back to Rome. These are intergenerational banking families. Let me give you one more thing. Go look it up. Bridget D'Avignon. She was 12 years old. She went down in Guinness Book of World Records, the first historian to find out that all the presidents except for one are blood related back to one king. Okay? A king of France. All the presidents except for one. And this is all verified by mainstream media.
What is it,
Bridget D'Avignon. And then you can search up 12-year-old presidents related as keywords, and it will pop up on YouTube. Might be kind of hard to find now, but it should still be up there. I gave it to someone last week. She went through all the genealogy and proved that all of our presidents except for Martin Van Buren are linked to one king. So you explain to me how we're out here voting and we have a right to vote and we're choosing. How could they all be related to one king?
Do you believe in email and stuff, or no? You don't do it?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to email me stuff?
Sure.
Can I put my email on there?
Absolutely.
Cool.
On the card they gave you?
Oh yeah.
What a cool cop. I mean, really.
And see, this is what we're out here doing, and I'm not.
It's right there, actually. Never mind.
This is a good officer, and I want to put this officer on camera. This is Ricky Valdez. They just pulled me over. No license, no place, no nothing, but that's fine because you don't need that to travel from point A to point B. And this man was willing to listen to me and understand what I was saying, and he could tell that I'm not up to no good out here, and this is what the human experience is supposed to be about.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You have a good day, my friend. You take care of yourself.
I appreciate you, Mr. Valdez.
Thank you. Be safe, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rock.
That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it right there. And I hope all you motherfuckers. Look, I can't get this window up now. I'm all nervous and shit. But I hope all you motherfuckers are watching. I hope you're all watching. Okay. All you people who told me that go ahead and try that shit with the police and see what they do. Well, I just tried it. No license, no registration, no insurance, no nothing. Okay. They told me many times that we're going to arrest you. We're going to do whatever. No, whatever. Stick to it. Stick to your fucking truth. Supervisor came. He said, we're not doing anything. We're not going to summon you. We're not going to do anything. You seem to know what you're talking about. Okay. Then he asked me as a man, can I see your VIN? Because I have it covered up. As a favor, can I see it? I normally don't do that. I said, you know what? You can read my VIN to make sure that my car is not stolen. Okay, but I didn't even need to do that. He said, you're not even obligated to do that. But as a man, he gave me his word, and I showed it to him. So here we are. The cops are going to let me go right here on Colfax in Colorado. No license, no registration, no insurance, no nothing, because I don't need any of that to travel from point A to point B. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. So now I'm going to post this video, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I'm feeling good about myself right now.
Bang. You got it, Paul. You got it, bro. So it's great that I still have Danny from Ego Checker channel. We're going to keep up with Danny because congratulations on that, Paul. Danny, was your experience anything like Paul's?
Oh no, not that one. I did have a sheriff, Brazos County sheriff, pull me over. No, I didn't give him anything, and I gave him case law, and we actually had a conversation, and he said, go on your way. He'd done the same thing, that he asked me for my VIN number, and I was like, well, you got to write me tickets or anything? And he said, no. And I was like, as a man, I'll go ahead and let you run my VIN if you're not going to do all that stuff. And he did run my VIN and come back clean, and he stood up on his word. So,
okay. So you have been set. You haven't had to go to the dungeon.
Not that time, no, but every other time, yes.
And how many times have you been arrested and gone to the dungeon?
3 times for that.
3 times for simply traveling.
For simply traveling, no victim, no crime.
And Paul, how many times have you gone to the dungeon?
At least 2. I tend to lose count because there's different things going on. There was a whole thing with the last 3 years. I won't get into it, but 2-3 times for the traveling situation.
I've been arrested in Alaska, Oregon, California, Arizona, Texas. I've been arrested so many places, man, you know? So it's like, just depends on. I got arrested one time for not having my driver's license on me in Texas. Took me to jail, impounded my car because it never on me. That was the whole crime. I had my driver's license on me. So he arrested me on a Friday night, took me to jail for that. So, all right. Anyway, Danny, we're going to keep up with you. Make sure everybody keeps up with the Ego Checker. That's his channel. Paul Unslaved. I did not plan on showing your whole video, but you know what? I had the man, the myth, the legend right here. So boom. All right, Ego Checker, I will let you go first, and I will say goodbye to you, my friend. I'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank y'all. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Later.
sir.
And Paul Unslaved, dude, you know, I've been waiting to reconnect with you, and I think that this was a great presentation of how you fight for your rights, you know, and I'm so proud of you, you know, from one human man to another human man, you know.
Well, you got a lot of haters out here, Castro, and like I said, you know, I see the dynamic, right? I don't know what you're up to. I don't get into it because I'm not a fucking player hater and I'm not a pocket watcher and all the rest of it. I focus on what I do. I stay true to my principles. If I see another motherfucker who shows up for himself and what's true and what's right, I'm there. You know, that's a mutual loyalty and bond and respect that goes beyond the affinity that these people deal with day to day when they do business with people they like but don't respect, right? So on some level, I respect you, right? And that's as good as it's going to get with me because I don't like most motherfuckers and I really don't respect most motherfuckers because they don't show up for themselves and what's true and what's right and others.
Well, you know, I think that that's the connection we have, man, because listen, I live by one truth and I am what I am. And I'm not going to stop. And I think that the government agents who are the state police and the state actors who act as these fake accounts that are haters for me, I never talk about these people, Paul, you know, they're afraid of me because I am going to be the governor and I will change it from the top down because I'm electable and I'm smart and I know exactly how I'm going to run my campaign. So I'm going to change things regardless, no matter what. And they're terrified of me. And they should be, because I will change things. And the people here, OTVO, Overturn Terry versus Ohio, a lot of the people who are so diehard loyal to me and loyal to this cause, it's not that they love me in the way that I act. I get emails from people who are supporters who send me cash apps. And they'll say, you know, they'll put their thing in, but they say, dude, just don't you stop. They don't even like some of the things I do. And right. I understand. Paul, I don't like some of the things you do. It doesn't matter, though. You live by a truth, a hardcore truth that we all just got to see. And so I'm going to keep living my truth. And so that's why you know, look at what I'm doing. The channel I'm doing is growing and growing and growing and growing because I won't stop. Try to stop me. You can't stop me no matter what. Like I was watching your show earlier, and he has another channel, a backup channel he was on earlier. And he was saying, you know, people talk all this trash, but they can't stop me. And I was like, I was on a power walk before this podcast. And I was like, that's exactly when I got off mission is when my channel went stagnant and people unsubscribed or unmembered or whatever. And then as soon as I went back to mission, it's been nothing but fly for me because we don't stop. And I hope we can change that DL thing. Maybe I'll start it wherever I'm governor because, you know, I just have to make sure. I just always watch my back. That's all. Just always watch my back. So, but thanks for coming on my show, dude. I'm super stoked to have you on. Anything you want to say to the people?
That's pretty much it. I think that we showed it here today. Again, I don't know you intimately. I don't need to. I've seen you in certain arenas enough, if it's a couple clips, to say, okay, this guy stands, he questions, he holds fast to whatever his understanding is. We may disagree on the application and the presentment and it doesn't matter. The core value is there. Yeah. So this is what I tell people: get away from these fake ass freedom, truth movement, anarchy communities who are talking about saving the world but won't stand for a motherfucking thing. Right? You got to really live this. You got to be about it. It's not on the weekends, and sometimes it's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. That's your best marketing and promotion and game. Is no marketing, no promotion, no game. Just show up for yourself and everyone else. Live that truth and stand on it. That's rare nowadays.
That's right. That's right. It's gonna be a grind, dude. Dude, Alibaba, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir.
I'll let you go. I'll see you on the next one. Later, Gator. So that's Ego Checker's channel. Make sure everybody gets over there. I didn't plan on doing this for an hour and 45 minutes. I actually am trying to finish the Boise, Idaho video. And I figured out a way to do it, to present it to you guys in a really cool way so that everybody can follow the Boise, Idaho, Boise County, Idaho, with Sheriff Kevin Turner. I think his name is over there. Kevin Turner is supporting a super corrupt cop named Dave Anthony who put his gun in people's faces. He's a total tyrant. Like he's a tyrant to levels where if you knew when you find out what he did in a really small community where everybody knows each other, you know, Dave Anthony should, hopefully he has to resign because he's a bad cop. He's a cop who's got a gun and wants to abuse people and show how I'm in charge. Douche bag. How great was Paul Enslaved? Oh my God. Paul Enslaved was great. Danny, Ego Checker, we're going to keep up with you, man. That's Ego Checker's channel. And then shoot me an email at Delete Laws. Mods, friends, P-Rex, what's going on? Thank you guys for coming. /I. The Citizens Broadcast Cooperative. Greg, what's going on? Mikey, how you doing? Shock Professor V. Boyer. I saw V. Boyer in the chat. Ken, what is going on? Kinetic Customs, how you doing? Les Paul, how are you, my friend? This was super great. I'm so grateful that everybody came and watched. I love Yahweh. Good to see you, Dave. C, what is going on? Aaron Queen is here, man. What's going on? Good to see you. Shock Professor. James, I'm just reading up some names, some people. Thanks you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Chevy, Ulrich, thank you. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you guys all coming. This was super, super long. Jonathan Mazel, what is going on? Thanks a lot. Steve, Christoph, what is going on? The Joker. Great comments, Joker. I was reading all your comments as we were going along. DLZ Clips. Make sure you guys go to subscribe to DLZ Clips, my backup channel. And my buddy over there, Colin. Michael Dolan was here. Good to see you, Michael Dolan. Nice to see everybody. KT, what's going on, KT? Good to see you. Weeping Willow, what is going on? Weeping Willow adding a lot of good commentary here. DLZ Clips Reloaded. Make sure you guys get over there and subscribe to DLZ Clips Reloaded. That's Colin over there running that channel. Shock Professor. Jeff hates pigs. Jeff hates pigs. Jeff hates pigs. You know, it's funny, Jeff. The audit I have coming out tomorrow, the copper I talked to was a solid dude. You know, I didn't see him attack anybody. You know, I haven't seen, there's no, you know, I'd have to have his personnel video file to know if he's really a good dude or not. but he's a Marine, and he was a really solid human being, because I was right behind him filming him, and he could have freaked out, but he was so cool. In the conversation, he answered all the questions correctly. It's a really strong back and forth. And then this copper here, the supervisor that let Paul Enslaved go because he has a right to travel. So there's some diamonds in the rough, but most of them are just such drones in a trough. They're in a trough, such drones in a trough. Okay. Love you guys, man. Thanks for coming. I super appreciate it. So, anybody name I did not mention? John Swamp Lover. What is going on? Sarah, good to see you. Just reading Bamba Boy. What's going on, Bamba Boy? And Carlos, and what is going on? Jock, what is going on? Denti Jen, Victor, good to see Victor. I love the comments, and I was reading. There's so many good comments. What sucks is we lose them all. So you guys redrop your comments when it posts on YouTube. Love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, Gators.